in 5 days. And so during that time, we decided we wanted to get married before he left. And in order to do that, our options were go to City Hall or go to Vegas, because I was messaging vendors trying to get pricing, saying, hey, we just need somebody for an hour for our wedding. And they're like, we don't have time for an hour. We have 8 hour packages, 6 hour packages. And it was the most frustrating thing ever. And we ended up going to the courthouse to get married in July of 2010. And it made me feel like just another number. I did not feel like it was this big glamorous experience or any of those things, but I was super thankful to be marrying my husband. And he left for deployment literally like 4 hours after we got married. And so while he was deployed, I was tasked with planning us this beautiful, epic wedding, right? And I quickly realized that my idea of epic and my expectations were cost a whole lot more than what I could afford. And unfortunately, that excitement that you have when you're planning a wedding was gone because we were already married. So it's really hard for me to justify spending the amount of money that we needed to spend. And so once he came home from deployment, about a year later, we had our first son. When he was 10 months old, we found we were pregnant with our second son. And I'm still trying to like, well, we can do something for our 5 year anniversary. We have two kids in daycare. I don't know everybody's demographics on kids, but when I tell you two kids in daycare at the same time is a pretty penny. It is a mortgage payment. And so, but I'm still trying to plan this wedding. And fast forward to 2017, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I want to create a business that allows me to help other couples have a wedding, even if it's on short notice, even if they need somebody the same day, and they don't have time to plan and pick apart finding all of these vendors. And from that idea, Just Elope was born. And this was in 2017. Since 2017, we have married over 600 couples. I've been an officiant on Netflix Love is Blind. I married Debrat and her wife, Jessica Harris Dupar, on We TV. I've had countless episode aired about my business on PBS, the news. So countless things have happened and taken place because I had the goal to and the gumption to find my voice to pursue my dreams. And that is what we are going to talk about today, is finding your voice to pursue your dreams. So I will be asking questions along the way. If anybody has questions, please feel free to come off mute, let me know, and we will get into it. So to begin, stepping into the spotlight. So society has this really weird way of wanting you to be boxed into what you should be. And I see that we are all women here. So I'm going to, unless some guys pop in, I'm going to address this as we are just going to be talking to all women. So as women, we often face the challenge of balancing societal expectations with our own passions and aspirations. And it's really hard, right? Because society either wants us to be mom of the year, the homemaker, or you are a career climber. But you can't be both, right? And the moment that the goals that you have set for yourself start to overshadow who you are at home, you are now getting looked at crazy. Everybody's giving you the side eye, because what do you mean you want to grow this business? What do you mean you want to take this chance and be an entrepreneur? And that means that you didn't cook dinner, or you didn't put your kids to bed. Your spouse had to do it. One of the things that when I first started Just Elope, I didn't have a blueprint of what that was supposed to look like. So that meant that I spent a lot of time from scratch trying to figure out how to run my business. And I worked a full-time job. At this point, mom to two small kids, and of course, married to my husband. So it kind of became this clash of the titans to a certain extent, because it was like you're spending so much time working on this. My husband used to think I was just, scrolling on the internet. He's like, you just looking at stuff. And it's like, I'm not just looking at it, I'm researching. But him saying that made me realize that I was spending more time looking and thinking about what I should do than actually executing what I needed to do. And so I want all of you who are finding your voice to pursue your dreams to think about, what is that goal that you have that you want to pursue, that you've been researching to death? Because at some point you have to stop researching and put it into action. Does anybody have an idea that they have been researching for at least 6 months with no action behind it?
Nobody. I know I have a
That's
whole
good.
lot of projects I've been researching.
Okay. Well, you know what? If you don't, oh, yes, Darla. Okay, Darla.
Yeah.
So I didn't just research, I just jumped in.
Okay.
I just jumped in the
ABC.
water and had no business in 2023. I just,
Okay.
you know,
Oh,
uh, but so
this
we
is the
got
meeting that
started
we
in
have online. That's
2024. And then this year is the first official year of it's working. But it was all hard knocks learning. And now I'm like sort of starting over in the sense of I kind of did it wrong and now I'm going to do it right.
Okay. Okay, good. And that takes a lot of self awareness, because one of the things about finding your voice and having these goals and dreams, you do need to put a deadline on whatever it is that you're working on. Because if you start a project and after 6 months, that's half of a year. If after 6 months you have not created any motion, that means that you obviously are, one, not that interested in it to where you want to actually move forward with it, or the idea may currently be beyond your scope. And that's okay. It is okay to know, like, I need to put this down for a minute before I can actually go ahead with it. I have an idea that is going to take a prototype and manufacturing and all of these pieces. So that is 12 to 18 months from now from being something. So my roadmap on my big idea board is small steps to get to this big goal, instead of not doing anything at all or being so consumed with it that I can't move forward from it. So if you have a goal or something that you're working on and it's been over 6 months and you have not made any motion, today I want you to decide, either I'm moving forward with it or I'm not. Because you will never get ahead and actually pursue the dreams that you want if you do not make a decision. So today, if you don't do anything else or take anything else from this webinar, please know that today is the day that you need to make a decision. Now, maybe that decision could be a Marada thing. It could be, if you're going to stay in this marriage, this relationship, if you're going to call this person back, if you're going to stay at this job, if you're going to start this business, whatever decision has been lingering over you, not making a decision is making a decision. So figure it out. You don't have to tell us what it is, but just know. So I want to take you all down my hood of experience. And why I say that is because when people think of the word hood, they think of ghetto. And let me tell you something. Pretty much everything about life is ghetto in some form. Motherhood, that's why it has hood at the end of it, because it is hard. It is extremely difficult. Veronica and I were talking briefly about motherhood before we came on here. I am the proud mom of three sons, and they are all involved in something, and we are juggling multiple things. Up until July of last year, I worked a full time job and ran my business. And I'm talking, we're doing 80, 90 weddings a year on top of working a full time job, and all the other things. And so I, I, I say that to say, um, there is no such thing, in my opinion, as juggling. People often ask me, how can you juggle so many aspects of your life, or you make it look easy? And my response to that is I don't view it as juggling. I just view that as prioritizing what's important to me. If what's important to you is watching all, what, 7, 8 seasons of Game of Thrones straight through, then by all means, that's your priority. Those see each episode like an hour and 10 minutes long. So if your priority is, hey, I want to binge watch this. If it's I want to get up and work out, I want to work on my business, I'm going to organize, I'm going to do this. That's where your priorities lie. And something that really helped me, another thing, if you don't do, I would encourage you to do. Something else that helped me is time blocking my day on my Google Calendar. I don't just wake up in the morning and say, all right, what's on my to-do list? Up, I got to respond to emails. I'm in school full time as well, on top of all of these other things. It's my last semester. But it's like, I can't just wake up and decide, oh, here's this list of things that I have to do. In order for me to truly be successful and hold myself accountable to all the various pieces that I have that help me find my voice to pursue my dreams, is I time block. So from 9 to 10, I'm working on this. From 10 to 10:15, I'm taking a break. From 10:15 to 12 o'clock, I'm doing this. I have to have that time blocked on my calendar, just like any other appointment, because I need to know where I'm spending my time at. And during that time block, if I notice that, hey, I blocked off 45 minutes for me to get my email newsletter out, but it really only took me 30, then I'm not going to keep 45 minutes for the next time. I'm going to shorten that time so that I can move on to something else. And then at the end of the month, when I sit down and look to see where all of my time is gone, I'm going to figure out, well, what can I do to give myself more time back? And so, can I give myself more time back by outsourcing the person that creates my emails that I send out? Would I get, if that's not in my budget, would it give me more time during the week if I sat down on Sundays and just said, let's just get everything ready for the week that's going out? If you don't know how much time you are spending on something and what you're doing, then you can never say that you don't have time, because you don't know how much time you're actually using. And so when you come and say, oh, I don't have time to work out. Oh, I don't have time to read. I don't have time to do this and that. How do you know? You don't know. That is why people count calories. People count calories because, me included, eat a whole lot more than we think we eat, right? You may go through the day and say, all I had today was pretzel, I had some fruit, I drank some water, and your stomach looking at you like, girl, why are you lying? We had a burger, we had some fries, we had some chips. Remember them cookies you ate earlier today? Like, because you're not aware of what you're actually eating, you don't know. So that's why they tell you to count calories, so you can be aware of how much you're consuming. Same thing with time blocking. You need to be aware with how much time you're actually spending on things, because there is pockets of time that you have for this business or this idea that you've been sitting on for the last 6 months. I promise you. I promise you it is. And so, finding my voice and figuring out what it was that I needed to do truly was a game changer for me, because my entire life revolved around my family. If you were to ask me to introduce myself a few years ago, I would have said, my name is Jennifer Allen. I'm married to Tavares Allen. We have 3 kids. That was my identity. So the moment I started to get away from that, and my identity was no longer my family, it was, oh, well, here are some things that I have accomplished. I started having this guilt of, well, because I'm not leading with with this is my husband, these are my kids, does that mean that I feel like this other piece of me is more important than they are? Now, nobody said that, right? It's just me having this this dilemma with myself. Nobody said we are judging you by the order of which you want to talk about your life accomplishments. Nobody said that, but that mom guilt, that parent guilt was eating me alive. But I realized that in order to be the type of mom that I needed to be for to my kids and the type of wife that I wanted to be to my husband, I had to, no matter what, move forward with doing the things that made me happy. Because if I didn't, then I would have this resentment built up that I didn't accomplish my goals because I was sitting around, waiting on my kids. Is this chat screen on y'all screen? No? Okay. Okay. I'm just making sure. I can see the chat on my end. I want to make sure that you all can't see it too. Okay, because I don't want that. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So I'm just gonna move this out the way. So rocking all shades of you, right? I am a full package person. And by that, I mean that I am not a pick a lane person at all. I want the whole highway. I want the whole street. Why should I have to pick a lane? Why should I have to settle for anything? If I think that it is a good idea, I am going to do it. I do not need the approval of anybody else. I do not need someone to validate my idea. I am going to do it. And something I've learned is that the people that have the most success, the time that they go from idea to conception is relatively quick because they're not sitting on it for a long time. And one thing that I do not do is I don't let my shortcomings keep me from pursuing what I want to do. Last year, I had the idea that I wanted to create a vitamin. I'm like, when you get married, everybody always talks about hair, nail, and skin. That's all they talk about. And I'm a boy mom, so I always think of things from a man's perspective. And I'm like, and nobody ever talks about the grooms. Everything is just geared towards brides. I'm like, men getting married, what's going on here? I'm like, but planning a wedding is so much more than your hair, nail, and skin's looking good. I'm like, and even on the planner perspective, like it's stressful. Why is there not one vitamin that you can take that not only makes you look good on the outside, but makes you feel good on the inside, has the calming effect of ashwagandha and magnesium and all of these other elements? Why does that not exist? This little part of me said, well, who are you to create that? You're not a chemist. You're not a doctor. You're not a formula maker. Like, who are you to create that? And if I was the type of person that needed validation from outside people, I would have never moved forward to find my voice to pursue that dream. So, from something that was an idea to today, my product is launching in October. I've realized the areas that I had the shortcomings. That's when you find the people that are able to fill in those gaps. I'm not a chemist. Guess what I did? Found a chemist. I'm not a doctor. That's what I did. Found two MDs that back the product because I don't have to be all of the things. I can have the knowledge to get the idea to want to move forward, want to do all these things, and then fill in the gaps where they are needed with the people that are needed. So whatever idea that you have right now that you feel like I can't move forward and I can't do this because I don't have this or this. Somebody else has that. Somebody else has it. And they may have the idea, I would love to do XYZ, but they lack your skill set. And sometimes we're so afraid to speak up and tell people our ideas because we feel like, oh, well, somebody's just going to steal my idea. Nobody's going to steal your idea. And even if they did steal your idea, it doesn't matter because the way that you do it is going to be the way that you do it. I always tell people don't be afraid to speak about your talents and your gifts because when you are think about it like being a fountain. You are a fountain of ideas and it's constantly flowing, right? A fountain, the water just goes, or a waterfall. That water is just running, running, running. When somebody steals an idea from you, they are walking up to this waterfall and walking up to this fountain, and they are filling up their bucket with your idea. And then they're gonna walk away. Eventually that water that they have that they took from you is going to run out, and then they're going to try to come back again, but you're not worried about that because as the fountain and the waterfall, that's nothing to you. You're constantly flowing. Don't compare yourself. You are constantly flowing and going, so don't ever worry about somebody stealing an idea from you when you are the source. You just have to have the confidence to move forward because it's not stealing an idea. If you have a thought about something and you look up and you see somebody else doing it, they had the gumption to get up and to fail out loud, even if it did not work. So don't sit around on your hands waiting on the perfect time. There's never a perfect time for version one. Never. My business is elevated so many different ways and it's going to continue to change. But you can't wait on perfection. You have to move forward and you have to put yourself out there in front of it. I enter pitch competitions. It is the scariest thing I've ever done because even though you know your business inside and out, you never know the questions that somebody is going to ask you in return in order to answer these questions. And so you need to get rid of this thought process that you can only hustle if you don't have kids or if your kids are older or if you can't move no, 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 no. You need to lead by example and for whoever is in your life and rise above whatever noise that you have in your head that tells you that you are not capable of accomplishing and moving forward on these goals. So before we get to the next slide, I do have a question. Does anybody want to share how they have successfully integrated their dreams into their family plan? So before we say that, I'll give y'all an example of mine. So because I time block everything and all of my kids are in school full time now, I make it a point to where I either get up. We'll just talk about when I worked full time. So when I worked full time, I would get up earlier than everybody else to work when it was quiet before I got everybody up to go to get ready for school. Then I will work on my lunch break. I will work on my breaks. I will work on the clock. I ain't even gonna lie. I was a secretary at an elementary school for years, and thank goodness to this day, my principal is the most encouraging person in the land. I would literally leave work to go be on the news and then come back to work. Like she's super supportive, but I just worked when I could, and I would time block. Hey, after I put everybody to bed, take care of my husband, do my wifely things. I'm going to get back to work uh, again, and that's how I integrated my time into my life. So, anybody want to share what they do at their house to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, and a successful parent? Tia.
Yes, so it's funny because our story is very, very similar. Only I have four sons, did the same, still working full time. I have not only managed my business, but I also manage my husband's business, which he's a
Mm,
truck driver. Um, Fortunately, two of my sons are, well, three of my sons are they're 16 and older. So my two oldest ones are 36 and 30. So they've all worked for me literally since they were younger.
Mm,
So we spend a lot of time together, even during event time. But then also, I still keep my Franklin planner. So I do write everything down, but I love the fact that you said time block everything because I do write it on my, Google like, meetings and things like that and all
mm-hmm,
of these little things. Like I rarely miss anything that they do. We all take karate together so we can spend time
mm,
together. That's
mm-hmm.
like the whole family does karate. So we try to do things that even when I'm away, that we can get back and do things together.
I love
Um,
that.
you know, I do miss a lot of time. Like, my husband and sons, they went on vacation several times without me because I had events. But
Mm-hmm,
we try to make sure that we do at least a few things a month with the kids, with all of us. And then,
mm-hmm.
when I have to be away, then I'm just away.
So,
So,
and
but I'm gonna
I
work on the time
absolutely
blocking
love
more.
that. Yes. No, that is awesome because it's like you just have to fill in these pockets of time when you can. My son, he has basketball practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's for 2 hours. And so my husband loves to take him to practice, but one of those days I always volunteer to be the one, like I'll take him because it doubles as 2 hours of interrupted time for me to just like take my laptop and work, but then show up for him and be supportive because when they play games on Saturdays for tournaments, if I'm at a wedding, then I can't be there. But at least I was able to show up during the week and still double that time to be able to, get some work done. Because again, my kids are 12, 11, and 4. And so at home with that 4-year-old is crazy town
They are different. They are different. They are different.
most of the time. And so I think that is great. Anybody else want to say before we go on? I want to respect y'all's time today. So, okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so this is how I view everything in my life, right? So, one of the main questions is like, oh, how do you balance it all? How do you do it all? Everything in my life is glass or rubber every single day. Everything goes into two categories. Is it glass or is it rubber? If it's glass, that means that if it drops, it'll never be the same. So for example, my son made the school play. He's never been in a play before. That means that going to his performance is glass. I'm not missing that. I don't care what I gotta change around or what else I have to do, that is going to be glass. So if that means that I need to send a member of my team to a wedding and I'm not there, that's okay because that's how the business is set up to run without me. And for that day, that particular wedding in my life is rubber because that's just how it goes. If I'm filming for the news, we're marrying a couple live on the news, opening day at the state fair on the 26th. That is glass. I cannot drop that. That is glass. So that means that anything else is taken care of for that day is my husband's responsibility to handle and to take care of. So every single day, everything goes into two categories. If I drop this, will it be the same when I pick it up? And if it won't, then it's glass. Those are your non-negotiables. If it's rubber, dinner is rubber to me a lot of the time. Okay, let me tell y'all something. I am not Betty Crocker. My husband knew when he married me, you were not getting Susie Homemaker. Okay, my self-worth has never been tied to how well I can cook a dish or fold some clothes. It never will be. That does not make me more or less of a woman how well I want to cook. And so my husband likes to cook, have at it. Do your thing. He will wash everything in the house, but he's not folding up anything. Great. I will fold the clothes. And so for him, meals are glass to him in the sense of he has cookbooks, he has new recipes, he wants to do this. That's an important thing to him. For me, 9 times out of 10, it's what's the healthiest, fastest thing that I can go in here and make. Oh, we're eating spaghetti. Can't go wrong with spaghetti. Oh, we're eating hamburger helper. Oh, I can put something in the crock pot. So it's never a situation where that is glass to me, except for if my husband says, man, I really would like for you to make blah, 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 blah. Then it becomes glass. But he knows what my life is and my schedule is. And so we've never conformed to the, norms of what meal prepping. Yes, I need to meal prep. We've never conformed to the, hey, you're the husband, you're the wife, this is what you're supposed to do. There's oftentimes, like in the beginning when I started my business, like his mom or brother would call him and say, like, hey, what are you doing? And he'll be like, oh, just giving the boys a bath. And then the very next question would be, because he would have him on speaker, would be, where's Jennifer? Don't look for me, baby. Don't worry about where I'm at. Don't look for me at all, because I'm working. And I'm thankful to be married to somebody who respects my drive and my ambition and wants to, be a part of that. And so when you meet people, they come into your life at different phases, right? So somebody may be walking into your story in a success era, right? Somebody may be seeing you right now and they are seeing that you are winning every time they look up. You have accomplished, this, that, and the third. And if I don't know if any of you follow me on social media or not, but I am a firm believer in building out loud, because I do not think that people should have this false narrative about what being an entrepreneur is. And I will share, like, oh man, I pitched this big idea, y'all. I'm gonna keep you posted. And I'll come back and be like, it didn't land. Like it just didn't happen. Like they said no, or oh, I tried, like, here's this message I got from this client saying that they're not gonna move forward, because I want to be the example that shows that you can take a side hustle and turn it into your main dream, but getting there is super hard. And it is not the path that people think it is. And I am a firm believer when people are like, oh, I see you run your business full time. I'm going to start running my business full time. I would never tell somebody to quit their job, ever. You will never hear that come out of my mouth, to quit your job, because everybody's home life is different, right? I am super thankful to be married to a man who provides for our family fully, whether I booked a wedding or not. That was not always the case at our house. We were a strong two-income household, need to get another half, another whole, and put it together to try to make something happen. And so that, again, daycare was a mortgage payment. And that is what kind of got me into my business early on, because before I ever started Just Elope, my husband bought me this camera one year for Christmas, and I self-taught myself how to shoot. And so for extra money, I started, like, taking pictures of my friends and their kids, just getting better, $40-$50 here. And then that turned into like a full-fledged, like, side hustle. And when I launched Just Elope, the first 100 weddings that we ever had, I shot every single wedding. And so as the business has grown, and now we have a team of photographers, a team of officiants, a team of coordinators, I often remind people when I'm speaking to them one-on-one, when they see the end, or not, I don't want to say the end, I'm not at the end, but when they see this process, that when I first started my business, my mom, sister, and husband were the officiants. I was the photographer. We were marrying couples at random parks. I had no partnerships with venues. There was no news. There was no Netflix. There was no none of that stuff. It was literally, hey, I think this is a good idea. I'm gonna put it on Instagram and Facebook page and see if somebody else thinks it's a good idea. And it just went from there. So I say all that to say this slide is titled From Dreaming to Doing, because it was not pretty when I first started. I had a pre-made logo from Etsy, $30. I paid $5 to connect the domain name that I purchased to my Wix website that I built. I didn't have any couples when we first started. Shout out to my parents. My mom went and bought a wedding dress. My dad put on a suit, and we did a mock vow renewal for the two of them, just so I could have content to put on my page to say, this is the new business that I'm starting. No fancy photo shoots, no fancy web developer, fancy logo, any of those things. Just, hey, I think this is a good idea. I'm gonna work with what I got. And so I just really want to encourage all of y'all to just work with what you have. And so I have started and stopped a lot of things that have failed, that have not been a success. Y'all, I have colored hair weave bundles before. I used to do passion parties. Y'all know what a passion party is? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was out here slanging them. Okay, do you hear me? I was out here in these streets at this party setting up. You walk in my living room, my husband want to know, why is it a table full of dildos on the table? And I'm like, because I'm about to go to work. Okay. And he's like, you are the most random person in the world. But you know what? That's all right, because if I think it's a good idea, guess what? I'm gonna do it. And I'm okay with that. And I have started things and stopped things, because the moment something no longer serves me, I'm not staying in it. I'm not. We are done. We are done. We are done. It does not matter what it is, who it is. The moment I feel like it no longer serves me, I have the confidence to move on from it. Passion parties no longer served me. Coloring hair no longer served me. And again, I'm not even a hairstylist. What am I doing out there with developer and hair color whipping up bundles? It was, again, at the time, I thought it was a good idea, and guess what I did? I went for it. But I also think that at that time, that made me realize that seeing somebody else's success at something, you think, oh, well, I could do that. They're probably struggling. And you thinking this just look good because of how they present it. And so I went down that path several times, and I'm like, okay, no, I need to figure out what fulfills me, what makes me happy, what can I do? But no matter what, I've tripped, I've stumbled, I've fell flat on my face, I've entered pitch competitions and won lots of money. I've entered pitch competitions and lost. And like I tell my children, you lose with the same grace that you win with. You would be excited. You have your head held high if you won. You'd be excited to do the next one. Keep that same energy, right? So that is one thing that I definitely carry over, because I have no problem with the imperfections. Like, that does not bother me, because I know that when it's all said and done, I want to make sure that I don't have any regrets when I get older and I can't move forward, to say, man, if I would have just did this, that, and the third. Going back to school was one of those things. I'm 39 and I graduated high school in 2004. Okay. So I am in my last semester of my associate's degree. Now, to put that in perspective, my brother just graduated with his JD, Juris Doctorate, and MBA on the same day. Okay. He is 33 years old. But that's his path. And if I would have sat back and said, I'm 39, I don't have to have any type of degree. I have a business. I don't have to do that. Was a regret for me personally, not anybody else. I wanted to say I finished something. I wanted to say, okay, I have my associate's degree. I'm going to keep going to get my bachelor's. I'm probably going to stop at that point. Okay, because my husband's getting his master's. I'm like, it's enough. We got enough schooling example for the kids now. Everybody, they can see everybody doing something. Okay, I did my part. But that was a personal thing for me that I wanted to make sure that I accomplished. So whatever, oh Lordy, whatever personal goals that you all have, no matter how far-fetched they may seem because of the time, always remember that the time is going to pass regardless. If God says the same, and I know everybody's thought and beliefs, so whatever that is for you, fill in the blank. But if the Lord says the same, in 5 years, you're still going to be healthy, kicking, and walking around. What do you want your life to look like? Let's not even take it five years. Let's just go 1 year. What type of work, what type of sacrifice are you willing to put in if you just literally said, I'm going to make this a priority, it's going to happen? We often don't treat ourselves as well as we expect other people to treat us, right? So if my expectation for my husband is, you need to remember that I said on Tuesday at 8:57 that I wanted to get a cheesesteak on June 7th at 5:52. You can just remember that. Or if he tells me, I promise you we're gonna do this, that, and the third. Jennifer, I promise in the morning we're gonna get up and we're gonna go to no, not Target, baby. We're gonna go to Costco. And we get up the next morning and he's like, oh, I don't really feel like going. Now you're gonna be looking like, well, why did you tell me that we were going? Now, flip that back around. If you tell yourself, when I get up in the morning, I'm going to work out. I'm getting up at 5, I'm going to work out. But then you get up in the morning, you like, oh, yeah, I really just don't feel like it. You don't keep promises to yourself, but you want somebody else to keep a promise to you. And that is the problem with entrepreneurship, is that if we were to truly live up to the expectations that we set in our head and not make an excuse for not getting it done, you will be so much further along. Because the moment I started realizing that if I make myself a promise and I break that promise to me, how can I ever hold anybody else accountable for doing anything? Working out. So I started working out. I told my husband, I'm like, sweetie, we've been married for 15 years. I'm like, we need to make sure we being healthy. We need to get up, be moving around, blah, 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 blah. So I can't, if I know that's not a natural thing for him. My husband's super tall. He's 6'7". He's always been slim until he's gotten older. And now he ain't super slim no more. He's still fine, don't get me wrong. But, we all can do some working out. And so I'm like, I'm going to make sure that if I know that's an area that is not his strong suit, I can step up and lead by example in that area. And then so after like two weeks, he was like, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. I'm like, okay, then go ahead. But he was like, yeah, because he's like, you can't get too extra fine because I'm already fine, right? He's like, you can't get too extra fine, and somebody you try to leave me or something. But I'm like, oh no, I ain't going nowhere because these kids too small, okay? Because so I'm not leaving because you can have them if that happens. We always joke like we would be the only couple ever, if we, God forbid, we ever got divorced, that would tell a judge, like, I really believe they should be with the other parent. I'm like, because I want to drop them off and go and just go live a life and then come back and pick them up. And so seeing me be active has encouraged him to be active. And now he's all in. He getting up. So it's just this synergy of you get out what you put in. So not only did I not am I not getting out of this my own personal health? I'm getting out of it what I want from my husband as well. And that same thing applies to your business. So kick the boundaries, kick those boundaries to the curb in the sense of I can't do something. That boundary, we don't realize that boundaries are not always I'm setting my I'm setting my boundaries of how I'm gonna let people talk to me. You need to figure out the boundary that you're setting with yourself that's keeping you from accomplishing your goal. And you need to kick that boundary to the curb because that is what is holding you back. You're scared. You're scared that people are going to say, damn, every time I look up, she's starting another business. Every time I look up, she's doing something different. You have to find a lane in the sense of becoming so good at something that that's what people associate you with. You don't have to stay there, but you have to establish yourself in that first before you start branching out trying to do something else. Me personally, when somebody thinks about weddings or elopements or an officiant in my area, it seems like that's what they associate me with. They tagging me, hey, you might want to talk to Jennifer, blah, 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 because that's what I'm known for. So when I think about businesses that I want to start and things that I want to do, I always think about being from your body, right? So think of the human body. I am a elopement and micro wedding planner. I do officiating services. That is the body of what my business is. An arm from that body is that I wrote a relationship workbook. That is an arm from the body of what I do. On the other arm of that body, I offer premarital coaching to some of my couples. That is the arm of the body. The next piece is, I started a wedding wellness supplement line. That is an arm, that is a leg, because I ain't got 3 arms. That is a leg from the body. I'm not going to say, guess what? I am now selling pit bulls and pickles. I am now a used car salesman because that's not from the body of what I feel like my purpose is. And when you find your purpose, and you think about what you're doing, because we are multifaceted people who have all these different ideas of what we want to do. But the reality is, what you're good at, if you build from that, it'll always bring money back in to everything else that you're doing. Because you may have heard, let me refer you to the person that did my premarital coaching. And then it's like, I didn't know you did weddings too. Or I bought this workbook. I didn't know you offered premarital coaching. Or, you have this wellness product. I didn't know you were an officiant. All of those things come back to the body and continue that sphere of money continuously being made in the atmosphere that I have created. That is my brand, Just Elope. And so it just all goes from the same thing. We are almost finished. I know it's 11:50. I think like 2-3 more slides, but they're going to be quick. So it's 11:50 my time. I'm in Texas. And so, but one of the things that's super important is having a community built around you. And not just people that tell you that you have a good idea. Because talking to people who are not creative, any idea that you come to them with, they're going to think it's creative because they don't know that it's not. Or you're going to come to them and you're going to have an idea about something and they're not going to get it because their brain can't even go to the level of what you're trying to create. So it is super important to surround yourself like situations or the community that we're in now with like-minded people that aren't going to just tell you what you want to hear, but actually provide you with viable feedback. it before I launched this supplement line, like y'all don't even want to know some of the other ideas that I had getting to this point. But I'm thankful that I have people around me that don't feel the need to stroke my ego. Because I don't want that. They don't feel the need to stroke my ego. They want to see me succeed, and in order for me to succeed, they have to be honest. And so surround yourself with a good group and rock to your own beat. Do not compare yourself to everybody else. Do not compare my year 8 in business with your year 1. Don't do that, because my year 1 was ghetto. Okay, 1 through 6.5. Not even gonna lie to you, was not the funnest situation going on there. So don't compare my year 8 to your year 1, but also look at that as, because when you're dealing with people like this conversation that we're having, where they're being honest with you about their path, use that as, oh, well, I would have never known, the roller coaster that got to this point. That is encouraging. So I definitely want to encourage y'all with that one. And really, I put this slide up because my husband upgraded my ring for our anniversary, and I just wanted y'all to see it. Um, so that is why that is here. But I literally want y'all to cheer for yourself every step of the way. When you see people posting like, oh, I got 50,000 followers, I got 100,000 followers. Why is there 50,000 any more important or something that you should celebrate more than your 100, than your 50? Celebrate it, be proud of it, because at one point you had 0. So be excited and thankful every step of the way. And always use your brand and the story of what you're building. People love to see the full spectrum of it so that they can support. So if you have pictures of like earlier work that you've done, that you look at it now and you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe that is what I thought was a cute setup. Take that picture and post the before, and then post where you are now so that people could see your growth. Don't hide behind those pictures. If you was putting chair covers and tying a ribbon across the back, baby, that's what you was doing. And you thought that was cute. Now somebody's still doing that now, and you still think it's cute. I think it's cute. I'm not judging your setup. I'm just simply saying, if you feel like you've moved beyond that and you want to something else, share whatever that process looks like. And because people want to see the story, because the journey truly is where the party is. And setting the stage for newbies, always be open to having a conversation with somebody, or just sharing your journey with people who are coming up, and what you're doing. In my case, participating in things like this is really important to me, because everybody's at such a different phase and where they are in their business. You may not be a newbie, but compared to what I've done, you may consider yourself to be a newbie. And so I love to be able to have these conversations so that we can keep moving forward. And I encourage you to do the same. 5 minutes left, question time, and thank yous, and how to find me. Oh, I guess I should put my personal information on here too. I'm on Instagram at I am Jennifer Allen. That's my personal Instagram. But I will stop sharing and open
Awesome.
the floor.
Well, definitely thank you, Jennifer. I know that there's quite a few people on here that have had a similar hustle, to get to where they are now. So I definitely appreciate you and being vulnerable and opening up to us. That was really inspiring for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Did
Well,
anybody have any questions for Jennifer?
I just want to say thank you. I was so entertained. I
Good,
thought it
good.
was wonderful, baby. I definitely share in everything that you were saying. And yes, I can relate to 100% of it. So thank you for being, open and transparent.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
And
Jennifer.
the community, you mentioned, how important it is, and it really is. Because, like, I can talk to my husband all day about something, what's going on, and it goes like in one ear and out the
Mm-hmm.
other. But then I can call like McCole and be like, "Look, this is happening," and it's a two-way street, so that really helps. I thought it was great.
Thank you.
Uh, Deborah says, "Jennifer, do you have a day where you perform?"
Always. Never not.
Awesome. Awesome. And then there's a whole lot of best wishes for
Well,
continued
thank
success.
y'all.
No,
Awesome.
can I correct? No, my question was, Jennifer, when you have a day of, somebody calls you the
Mhm,
day of, where
mhm.
do you perform that ceremony?
Gotcha. Okay. So we partner with different venues in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And so basically the way my business is set up, we fill in the scheduling gaps at these venues. So if you call me, you just pick a package from my website like you would from a menu. So you go to our site and if we have 30 seconds, I can just pull this up and show what that looks like if that's okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
okay, let me just pull this up really quick. Okay, and then I'm going to share my screen super fast. We will, because I know y'all are on y'all breaks probably. And okay, so can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So I don't know why, let me make it even bigger than this, but on our site, our Just Elope site, whenever you go to our packages page, we have packages that couples can choose from. So whether you wanted to do just an officiant, you tell us your location, we show up. We do still offer like public park options for couples, but then we partner with different venues in the area as well. So that means that if somebody was, for example, to pick this particular package, which is the Hamptons, this package is $5,000. It includes the venue rental fee, the photographer, the day of coordinator, everything that they need to get married because we are a ceremony company. So we don't deal in receptions. And so we are a ceremony company. And so if you said you want to get married at the Hamptons today, if I call the Hamptons and they have the date available, then we're booking you. We are able to move forward or having your wedding there. So whether that is at a venue that we partner with, whether it's a small group of people and it's taking place at a public park, or we have what's called venue of your choice. And that means that you choose the venue that you want to get married at, and my team shows up to provide the officiant, the photographer, and the day of coordinator services at whatever venue it is that you want us to come to.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jennifer, for sure.
And
We'd
somebody said, "Are
love
you an
to have you back
ordained
another
minister?" And I said,
time.
"I don't have a church." Yes, Cherie, I am. Her question was, and it's the last one because I know it's time to go. I am an officiant through American Marriage Ministries. It takes literally 5 seconds to get ordained. Anybody can become an ordained officiant, but I always tell people that anybody can also be a makeup artist. That doesn't mean you want everybody playing in your face, right? So you perfect your craft, and then that's how you're able to move forward to charge XXXYZ. So yes, that's how that goes. But thank y'all so much. My husband just walked in and brought me some food. So thank y'all.
Thank you. You take care. All
Okay,
right.
bye
Everybody have a
everybody.
good day. Bye.